Sleeping Murder by Agatha Christie. Chapter 18. Bindweed. Miss Marple bent down on the terrace outside the French window and dealt with some insidious bindweed. It was only a minor victory, since beneath the surface the bindweed remained in possession as always. But at least the delphiniums knew a temporary deliverance. Mrs. Cocker appeared in the drawing-room window. "Excuse me, madam, but Dr. Kennedy has called. He is anxious to know how long Mr. and Mrs. Reed will be away, and I told him I couldn't take it upon myself to say exactly, but that you might know. Shall I ask him to come out here?" Oh, yes, please, Mrs. Crocker." Mrs. Crocker reappeared shortly afterwards with Dr. Kennedy. Rather flutteringly, Miss Marple introduced herself. "And I arranged with dear Gwenda that I would come round and do a little weeding while she was away. I think, you know, that my young friends are being imposed upon by their jobbing gardener, Foster. He comes twice a week, drinks a great many cups of tea, does a lot of talking, and not, so far as I can see, very much work." "Yes," said Dr. Kennedy, rather absently. "Yes, they're all alike. All alike." Miss Marple looked at him appraisingly. He was an older man than she had thought from the Reed's description of him. Prematurely old, she guessed. He looked, too, both worried and unhappy. He stood there, his fingers caressing the long, pugnacious line of his jaw. "They've gone away," he said. "Do you know for how long?" "Oh, not for long. They've gone to visit some friends in the north of England. Young people seem to me so restless, always dashing about here and there." "Yes," said Dr. Kennedy. "Yes, that's true enough." He paused, and then said rather diffidently, "Young Giles Reed wrote to me and asked me for some papers, or letters, if I could find them." He hesitated, and Miss Marple said quietly, "Your sister's letters?" He shot her a quick, shrewd glance. "So you're in their confidence, are you? A relation?" "Only a friend," said Miss Marple. "I have advised them to the best of my capacity, but people seldom take advice. A pity, perhaps, but there it is." "What was your advice?" he asked curiously. "To let Sleeping Murder lie," said Miss Marple firmly. Dr. Kennedy sat down heavily on an uncomfortable rustic seat. "That's not badly put," he said. "I'm fond of Gwenny. She was a nice small child. I should judge that she's grown up to be a nice young woman. I'm afraid that she's heading for trouble." "There are so many kinds of trouble," said Miss Marple. "Eh?" Yes, true enough." He sighed. Then he said, "Giles Reed wrote and asked me if I could let him have my sister's letters, written after she left here, and also some authentic specimen of her handwriting." He shot a keen glance at her. "You see what that means?" Miss Marple nodded. "I think I do. They're harking back to the idea that Kevin Halliday, whether he said he had strangled his wife, was speaking neither more nor less than the truth. They believe that the letters that my sister Helen wrote after she went away weren't written by her at all, that they were forgeries. They believe that she never left this house alive." Miss Marple said gently, "And you are not by now so very sure yourself?" "I was at the time." Kennedy still stared ahead of him. It seemed absolutely clear. Pure hallucination on Kelvin's part. There was no body. A suitcase and clothes were taken. What else could I think? "And your sister had been recently rather, Miss Marple coughed delicately. "Interested in a certain gentleman?" Dr. Kennedy looked at her. There was a deep pain in his eyes. "I loved my sister," he said, "but I have to admit that, with Helen, there was always some man in the offing. There were women who are just made that way. They can't help it." "It all seemed so clear to you at the time," said Miss Marple, "but it does not seem so clear now. Why?" "Because," said Kennedy with frankness, "it seems incredible to me that, if Helen is still alive, she has not communicated with me all these years. In the same way, if she is dead, it is equally strange that I have not been notified of the fact. Well," he got up. He took a packet from his pocket. "Here is the best that I can do. The first letter I received from Helen I must have destroyed. I can find no trace of it. But I did keep the second one, the one that gave me the poste restante address. And here, for comparison, is the only bit of Helen's handwriting I've been able to find. It's a list of bulbs and so forth for planting. A copy she had kept of some order. The handwriting of the order and the letter look alike to me, but I'm no expert. I'll leave them here with Giles and Gwenda for when they return. It's probably not worth forwarding. Oh no, I believe they expect to return tomorrow, or the next day. The doctor nodded. He stood, looking along the terrace, his eyes still absent. He said suddenly, "You know what's worrying me? If Kelvin Halliday did kill his wife, he must have concealed the body or got rid of it in some way. And that means, I don't know what else it could mean, that his story to me was a cleverly made-up tale. That he'd already hidden a suitcase full of clothes to give color to the idea that Helen had gone away. That he'd even arranged for letters to arrive from abroad. It means, in fact, that it was cold-blooded, premeditated murder. Little Gwenny was a nice child. It would be bad enough for her to have a father who is a paranoiac, but it's 10 times worse to have a father who's a deliberate murderer." He swung round to the open window. Miss Marple arrested his departure by a swift question. "Who was your sister afraid of, Dr. Kennedy?" He turned back to her and stared. "Afraid of? No one, as far as I know." "I only wondered. Pray excuse me if I am asking indiscreet questions, but there was a young man, wasn't there? I mean, some entanglement when she was very young? Somebody called Affleck, I believe." "Oh, that? Silly business most girls go through. An undesirable young fellow, shifty, and of course not her class. Not her class at all. He got into trouble here afterwards." "I just wondered if he might have been revengeful." Dr. Kennedy smiled rather skeptically. "Oh, I don't think it went that deep. Anyway, as I say, he got into trouble here and left the place for good." "What sort of trouble?" "Oh, nothing criminal. Just indiscretions. Blabbed about his employer's affairs." "And his employer was Mr. Walter Fane?" Dr. Kennedy looked a little surprised. Yes, now you say so. I remember he did work in Fane and Watchman's. Not article, just an ordinary clerk." "Just an ordinary clerk?" Miss Marple wondered, as she stooped again to the bindweed after Dr. Kennedy had gone. Chapter 19. Mr. Kimball Speaks. "I don't know, I'm sure," said Mrs. Kimball. Her husband, driven into speech by what was neither more nor less than an outrage, became vocal. He shoved his cup forward. "What you thinking of, Lily?" he demanded. "No sugar." Mrs. Kimball hastily remedied the outrage, and then proceeded to elaborate on her own theme. "Thinking about this advert, I am," she said. "Lily Abbott, it says, plain as plain. And formerly house parlor maid at St. Catherine's, Dilmouth. That's me, all right." "R," agreed Mr. Kimball. "After all these years, you must agree it's odd, Jim." "R," said Mr. Kimball. "Well, what am I going to do, Jim?" "Leave it be." "Suppose there's money in it." There was a gurgling sound as Mr. Kimball drained his teacup to fortify himself for the mental effort of embarking on a long speech. He pushed his cup along and prefaced his remarks with the laconic "more." Then he got underway. "You went on a lot at one time about what happened at St. Catherine's. I didn't take much account of it, reckoned it was as mostly foolishness, women's chatter. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe something did happen. If so, it's police business and you don't want to be mixed up in it. All over and done with, ain't it? You leave well alone, my girl." "All very well to say that. It may be money as has been left for me in a will. Maybe Mrs. Halliday's alive all the time, and now she's dead and left me something in her will." "Left you something in her will? What for?" Said Mr. Kimball, reverting to his favorite monosyllable to express scorn. "Even if it's police, you know, Jim, there's a big reward sometimes for anyone as can give information to catch a murderer." "And what could you give? All you know you made up yourself in your head." "That's what you say. But I've been thinking." "Arr," said Mr. Kimball disgustedly. "Well, I have. Ever since I saw that first piece in the paper. Maybe I got things a bit wrong. That Leonie, she was a bit stupid like all foreigners. Couldn't understand proper what you said to her, and her English was something awful. If she didn't mean what I thought she meant... I've been trying to remember the name of that man. Now, if it was him she saw. Remember that picture I told you about? Secret lover. Ever so exciting. They tracked him down in the end through his car. $50,000 he paid the garage man to forget he filled up with petrol that night. Don't know what that is in pounds. And the other one was there too, and the husband crazy with jealousy. All mad about her they were, and in the end... Mr. Kimball pushed back his chair with a grating sound. He rose to his feet with a slow and ponderous authority. Preparatory to leaving the kitchen, he delivered an ultimatum. The ultimatum of a man who, though usually inarticulate, had a certain shrewdness. "You leave the whole thing alone, my girl," he said, "or else, likely as not, you'll be sorry." He went into the scullery to put on his boots. Lily was particular about her kitchen floor, and went out. Lily sat on at the table, her sharp, foolish little brain working things out. Of course she couldn't exactly go against what her husband said, but all the same, Jim was so hidebound, so stick in the mud. She wished there was somebody else she could ask, someone who would know all about the rewards and the police and what it meant. Pity to turn up a chance of good money. The wireless set, the home perm, that cherry color coat and Russell's ever so smart. Even maybe a whole Jacobin suit for the living room. Eager, greedy, short-sighted, she went on dreaming. What exactly had Leonie said all those years ago? Then an idea came to her. She got up and fetched the bottle of ink, the pen, and a pad of writing paper. "Know what I'll do," she said to herself. "I'll write to the doctor, Mrs. Halliday's brother. He'll tell me what I ought to do, if he's alive, that is. Anyway, it's on my conscience I never told him about Leonie or that car." There was a silence for some time apart from the laborious scratching of Lily's pen. It was very seldom that she wrote a letter, and she found the composition of it a considerable effort. However, it was done at last, and she put it into an envelope and sealed it up. But she felt less than satisfied that she had expected. 10 to 1 the doctor was dead or had gone away from Dilmouth. Was there anyone else? What was the name now of that fellow? If only she could remember that.